What is up, everybody? It's Paul Peckham, and today I'm going to show you how to turn an ordinary place like this, even an unfinished basement, into a professional looking studio like this. So let's get started. So the best part about this whole thing is that this whole setup here cost me around $100. It looks very professional, and you guys likely won't even have to spend $100. You probably have some of this stuff already, if I'm being honest. The first thing I want to point out is my backdrop here. So this is in extreme circumstances. I had to have a backdrop because I had to cover up these 2x4s. That doesn't look very professional. That literally looks like I'm making videos out of my mom's basement. So I had to get a backdrop, and I got one that was just wide enough for me to be able to hide the camera so it didn't see the edges. Also, something that works really good is if you guys have an area or a space in your home or your studio or your apartment that's got a little bit of a modern or a vintage feel, or you can make it look that way, you don't need this. People like that stuff. It makes for a very quality feel. It gives people the feeling that they're closer and kind of in a setting and a mood with you. This, not so much. This is for a studio, and it gives you that very pristine quality feel. Makes you look like you are making professional videos for a professional company, or maybe doing product reviews or other things like that. It's a very professional setting. Alright, a couple things I need to show you with the backdrop, okay? When you guys get it, you are going to find that it's folded very, very tightly. So when you undo it, there are going to be about a bazillion lines in this thing, okay? So the first thing you need to do is you need to set up the stand, you need to set up the backdrop, and you need to pull it very tight, okay? Set it up top, you see it just slides on there, and then on the clips here, you just need to pull it as tight as you can get it without obviously causing structural damage, and clamp it all the way down. So I've got 3 on each side. You can see I've got 3 over here, okay? You're gonna get it as tight as you can, and then believe me or not, you need to get a spray bottle just full of water and go and lightly spray all of the lines. Let it sit for a day. Go and do the same thing the next day. It'll take 2 or 3 days, but soon all of those really, really deep crease lines will start to come out, and it'll start to look like a painted wall, a very clean backdrop, okay? Now, when the lines are almost out, you'll see some ripples. So what I've done is down here I just found a board. See that board there? So I just found a board, and I laid it down so that it was straight, and it kept the backdrop straight, and I put some weights on it from my weight set. You guys can use whatever you want. You don't need to buy weights or anything like that. Just simply find something that's heavy, books, whatever, and so that you have also weight pulling down on it. So you've got it pulling from the top, from the sides, and on the bottom, creating a very, very tight fit so that it looks like a professional backdrop or even a wall in a studio, okay? So that's very important to do. The other thing you may notice is the lighting, okay? The lighting is much better, but it also casts 2 shadows if you haven't picked them up. And that's because I have a light right here and I have a light right here. These are bright white LED lights that I picked up for around 50 bucks. But you guys can pick up lights that are just this cheap, or you can even make them. You just want to make sure that you try and keep a white light on you. Now, one thing that you'll think is kind of cool is if I take this light and I set it right here, it makes for a little edgier look, putting more of the white light on this side of my face and darkening this side out a little bit. I could keep moving them into different places until I got exactly what I wanted, but this is something you could go for, and this looks professional. You'll also notice I've got a light behind me. I don't have any reflective gel or umbrella or anything like that on this because I want it to be as bright and as popping behind me as I possibly can make it. I like to do that because the light behind me seems to emit a little bit, creates a little bit more of a dynamic, so it fades out of the picture and makes me look like the bright centerpiece of the film, which it is. I will say that outside light, natural light, is going to make your videos look the best. It is the best light that you're going to find. But I also will say that it's very nice to have a light in a place or two, because then you can bounce it off your face and create those shadows and that dynamic that you want. Natural light, on the other hand, you can't sometimes. So if you can set this system up next to a window, if you have a window right here, then that natural light could flood in and shed this side and make it look very good. So you may not even need lights. But if you're like me and you're in a basement, then you can't do that. You have to come up with some artificial light, and you have to know where to place it. Now, this chair I'm sitting on, obviously you guys can get whatever chair you want, but this is just an extra chair for my kitchen table. So this is also a very cheap table. It is a laminate, so it's got just a covering on the top, and it was around 30 bucks. So I bought the legs and the top separate. I screwed them together, and voila, I have a very good looking table, if that's what you're into. If you're not, if you're just trying to talk or vlog or sit there and tell people about your political views, you can just sit in whatever chair you want, cross your legs, and do it interview style. But I wanted something where I could show products, where I could kind of have a table to rest on and lean on, almost a prop. Now if I wanted this to look even more professional, I could put a laptop here, which I've done before. Or you can put different gadgets in the top corners, or really make it yours. You know, this is something that's your guys' channel and you can make it yours. This is just to make it look like it is somewhat professional in a studio. It's a cheap way of doing it, but it still is gonna, you know, make your videos that much better for those of you that can't afford the really nice lights and really expensive backdrops. Now, for those of you that haven't been able to get a decent camera and you're still doing videos on your smartphone, you're probably wondering, how do I film myself doing something like that? So let me show you. Again, if you don't have a tripod, you can get some really cheap, but let's just say you don't have it. You just don't have the money and this is a budget film. Simply get yourself a red Solo cup or a styrofoam cup. You'll simply cut out a section out of the top of the cup that's roughly the width of your phone. I've used this at multiple family outings, or when I just don't have anything that I can take a picture of my family or myself with and I really want to get that picture. You can then slide your phone in and simply squish down the side so it's somewhat level, okay? You do have to make sure that your camera is showing, and then prop it up on the opposite side of you with really whatever you have. Chairs, whatever. Shoot. We're good. We're good. We're good. Okay, all right. So I've now got you on, there's a chair and then a bin, which you've seen, and you're sitting in the cup, and this is the recording off of my phone. So audio is not quite as good, but the video is still 1080p and it still looks pretty good. So if you're on a budget, this is a very good way for you guys to start. You can film yourself in a studio setting with a little bit of dynamic lighting, and everyone's gonna think you're a professional. You're gonna look good. Thank you so much for being here, you guys. I really appreciate it. If this video helped you out, go ahead and hit the like button down below. Subscribe, would love to have you guys back, and we'll see you in the next one.